Trump administration doubles down on immigration enforcement as political cracks deepen. The Trump administration has reaffirmed its hardline immigration enforcement strategy following the fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen, Alex Preddy, by federal officers in Minneapolis, an incident that has intensified political backlash and exposed growing divisions within the president's own coalition. Rather than scaling back, President Donald Trump and senior officials have doubled down on their aggressive posture, defending federal agents and blaming Democratic state and local leaders for escalating tensions. In public statements and media appearances, administration figures accused Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey of failing to support federal law enforcement and of encouraging resistance to immigration and customs enforcement, ICE, operations. Trump amplified this message through social media, denouncing so-called sanctuary cities and alleging that Democratic leaders are obstructing efforts to target what he described as the worst of the worst offenders. At the same time, sources inside the White House expressed concern that chaotic scenes in Minnesota are overshadowing the administration's broader immigration messaging and undermining public confidence. Republican doubts and questions about strategy. While the White House has maintained its stance, some prominent Republicans have begun questioning the wisdom and sustainability of the current approach. House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer suggested that maintaining a heavy federal presence in hostile jurisdictions may put agents and civilians at unnecessary risk, proposing that ICE consider redirecting operations elsewhere. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt echoed those concerns, asking what the long-term objective of the strategy is and warning against an overly centralized federal approach that could erode state autonomy. What is the endgame? Stitt asked, reflecting broader unease among conservatives who support border enforcement but worry about political fallout and constitutional implications. Internal DHS friction and reputation concerns. Tensions have also surfaced within the Department of Homeland Security, DHS. Some officials reportedly believe DHS Secretary Kristi Noem's public handling of the Minneapolis shooting is damaging the department's credibility. Noem has publicly faulted Preddy, arguing he interfered with a federal operation, a claim disputed by video evidence showing rapidly escalating force by officers. Privately, DHS staff have voiced concern that the department's leadership is prioritizing political loyalty over transparency and accountability. One official described a need for a law enforcement leader, not a sycophant, reflecting deeper anxieties about reputational harm and legal risk. Even Border Patrol personnel on the ground in Minneapolis have reportedly begun questioning whether the mission justifies the danger and public hostility surrounding it. White House refuses to shift course. Despite internal friction and bipartisan criticism, senior administration officials say there are no plans to change policy. The White House argues that cooperation from local authorities in other states, such as Texas and Washington, D.C., has enabled safer, more effective enforcement, suggesting that Minnesota's leadership is responsible for the unrest. Attorney General Pam Bondi has announced plans to deploy additional federal agencies, including the FBI, DEA, and ATF, to support DHS operations in Minnesota. Bondi has also pressured state officials to repeal sanctuary policies and share welfare and voter data with federal authorities, framing the move as an anti-fraud measure, an effort Democrats have denounced as political coercion. Government funding and political stakes. The Minneapolis incident has spilled into congressional budget negotiations, raising the risk of a government shutdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced Democrats will oppose Department of Homeland Security funding unless stronger oversight and reforms are enacted to rein in ICE's conduct. The standoff underscores how immigration enforcement has become a central and polarizing political battlefield. With protests spreading and civil liberties concerns mounting, the administration's refusal to recalibrate could deepen national divisions while reshaping the 2026 election narrative. A strategy under strain. The administration's decision to intensify enforcement amid controversy highlights a broader strategic gamble, reinforcing its base with tough immigration rhetoric while risking alienation from moderates, civil rights advocates, and even segments of the Republican Party. As investigations into the Minneapolis shooting continue and public scrutiny grows, the durability of Trump's immigration strategy and the cohesion of his political coalition remain increasingly uncertain.